Sorry, I'm a little late, but that's okay because we have ourselves a show here. This is a solo show with yours truly, Mr. First Down, and we are ready to have this thing rolling. Let's talk some of this Senior Bowl. Let's talk the quotes coming from it. Let's talk draft, and let's talk the upcoming Super Bowl. Everybody, stick with us. Let me get through this intro. Welcome in. Happy Friday. I hope this week words today treated you well. Welcome to Fanboys Unleashed. It is a Fanboy Unleashed, not plural tonight, as my boy Brad is off working, leaving me to my lonesome, just you and me and you fine folks out here. So let's go ahead and get this started here. We'll get this over with. It won't be as painful, hopefully. Things coming out at the Senior Bowl. And I always love these because people come out with all kinds of just, I really feel like they like this guy, or they really love this guy. And the truth is they have no clue. They have no clue. It's great. The Senior Bowl is great to get a lot of visibility on these wide receivers. Restrepo, I think is his name, out of Xavier Restrepo, I think, out of Miami, is really, really a fun-looking dude. But it's like as soon as the Titans had a chat with Shedeur Sanders, they said they really liked the guy, and they really liked the guy. So they said they really liked the guy, or whatever. Well, what do you want them to say, right? No, he stinks. We're not drafting him anyway, or anything like that. It seems that the narrative has kind of shifted to everybody on the Cam Ward train. Shedeur Sanders, to me, appears more like a guy that would fit into the Callahan offense. But to be perfectly clear, I hope we trade out. I want to stack picks. These guys have talked about building picks before, or making a lot of picks the next 5 years in the top 100. And you need to trade out to do that. And I think it's going to start here. Someone is going to trade down for Cam Ward. That's the bottom line. I just hope it's somebody like the Giants or the Raiders, so I don't have to get too far down and I can still get a quality player. I'm so in for that. Maybe we'll get lucky and Cleveland will bite on it and we'll only have to move down one spot. Wouldn't that be fun? But anything out of the Senior Bowl, I always roll my eyes at, because it's like they've met with Sanders, they've talked about Cam Ward, and then they ask the ever important question to Callahan: what do you think a starting quarterback needs? Oh, he needs a good quarterback nervous system or whatever else. It's a fancy way to say, they have to have the knowledge and everything like that. And it's so silly because you can't really tell until you really start looking at a guy, and you can find out fairly quickly. I think the Titans look at this thing, and Paul Kaharski said this on his podcast. Maybe they look at it and they say, you know what? I have a cool background. I should probably do that. There we go. They probably look at this whole thing, and they say, we already have a quarterback that has bad decision-making and whatnot, and it didn't work out too well for us. So I don't want to do that again. And I don't know if that fits in Sanders or Cam Ward's camp or whatnot. But when you have a quarterback as bad as Will Levis is, maybe it might scare you away from having to pick somebody else that you might have to train. And that's the crazy thing, because you could pick them and they could just totally fit and everything works. It's so crazy how this thing works. And nobody really knows what's going on. And I laugh so hard every time, because when they said we wouldn't pass on a generational player, there were tweets from people off NFL Network and everything. Oh, this is who they're talking about. They're talking about Travis Hunter. They're talking about Abdul Carter. They're talking about Cam Ward. They're talking about random guy out of some random college and whatever else. They have no clue. They have no clue. When I hear things like a definite answer to something, and when Chad Brinker, the head of football operations, comes out and says, we want to have 12 picks in the top 100 the next 3 to 5 years and whatnot. That certainly sounds like a trade out to me, and that's a pretty definite thing. Someone is going to trade for that draft pick. People always said, but it might be too expensive or whatever else, blah, blah, blah. This is your quarterback of the future. You're going to trade for him, period. You need him. I mean, are we saying I know my team needs one, but I think they're getting a bridge for next year. I really do. I know my team needs one, but I think teams that are hungrier for it would be like the Raiders or the Giants. And they could say the price is too steep, blah, blah, blah. If that is your quarterback and you think he's the quarterback of the future, you will trade and you will get him. Okay? You just got to pay the man. I'm the man that gets paid. That's how this works. That's how this has always worked. It's so funny to me that people think it's going to be too expensive to trade down and blah, blah, blah. They'll do it. If they think he's the guy, they'll do it. They'll do it easy. It's kind of funny. If anybody in chat has anybody they see in the Senior Bowl they really like, or another quarterback other than Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders, which I've primarily been hearing about the entire time, feel free to throw it in there. Personally, if I have to stick and pick, I'm taking Abdul Carter. I want that edge rusher. I want him to bring the pain. I need an edge rusher. It would be absolutely fantastic to have an edge rusher. And I think Abdul Carter, I'm not going to say generational talent, but a very, very good pass rusher. You could just plug him in there and let him, Big Jeff, and Sweat, and Harold Landry have at him. That's what I think anyway. So we move on. We talked to A to Z Sports in Nashville, Buck Rising, who's kind of flighty at times, but every now and then, he finds a nice nugget that speaks to me. And I was trying to hunt it down for you, but I'm having some trouble finding it. But basically said it's pointless to really draft a quarterback right now if you're the Titans because your O-line is a mess. And I kind of agree with it. It doesn't really matter. You're not drafting Patrick Mahomes this draft. Does anybody think they're drafting Patrick Mahomes this draft? I don't. So, but you always have these people, the Miami Hurricane fans or whatever, that act like, oh, he's the best quarterback prospect I've ever seen. Or the Colorado fans, he's the best quarterback prospect I've ever seen, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you obviously have a biased take. You have to fix that line first if you're Tennessee. They've got to fix the right side of the O-line. They're not going to have any success. It doesn't matter who's back there at quarterback. If they can't protect him and he's getting lit up like poor Will Levis was last year, it's just not probable to have a good season. It's got to be fixed. And I think they're going to start there. If you're asking what kind of quarterback I would like, I think the number one on my list would be like Matthew Stafford. If him and the Rams are – because he was he had a quote where he was uncertain about his future with the Rams. So that would be an interesting one. That would be my first target numero uno. I don't want Aaron Rodgers, but I can see it happening, but I don't want Aaron Rodgers. I will do anything in my power not to have Aaron Rodgers. Please do not pick Aaron Rodgers. Please, please, please don't pick Aaron Rodgers. So looking through, it's fun to get all these video clips and stuff for the Senior Bowl, but we're going to find out. The best thing about the Senior Bowl is finding guys like an Xavier Restrepo, among others. And it's going to be really interesting what they decide. But this, I found this article by Sam Phelan, also of A to Z Sports. But he says, Will Levis remains under contract, and while the Titans' newly hired front office executives has said Levis will be given an opportunity to compete in training camp, I don't think anyone truly expects him to be the starter next season. No way he's the starter next season. We've had enough Mayo Man for me. Thank you. The Titans are sitting on the first overall pick in 2025 draft that gives them option upon option for what to do at QB. There's Shadur Sanders and Cam Ward in contention to go number one. That's the rest of the quarterback class going in the later rounds if the Titans decide to trade the pick. There's also veteran options that could come available in the coming months, which is what I would like to do. But after watching a handful of quarterback prospects compete during Senior Bowl practices in Mobile, Alabama this week, I'm confident in saying the Tennessee's decision just got a lot easier. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Ole Miss QB Jackson Dart was definitely one of the more polarizing players in Mobile. Half the people I spoke with at the Senior Bowl fell in love with Dart and had him down as a fast riser of the week. NFL draft analyst Todd McShay even mentioned that multiple scouts have Dart as the QB2 of the class. If that is indeed the case, that's crazy shocking to me. On the other hand, I know there's a large contingent of people that were not impressed by Dart. I'm one of them. There's no question his talent pops on occasion, but I found him to be too inconsistent of a passer. He's not an anticipatory thrower and doesn't have the post-snap recognition that he needs to excel at the next level. Dart needs some work, and I don't view him as an NFL starter right now. And we can't really afford to do those kinds of things. Oregon QB Dylan Gabriel throws a good ball. He's accurate and does well moving around in the pocket, but I really question his ability to see it. And that's something we're all scared about if you're a Titans fan, because we all saw the famous GIF of Will Levis, right? I didn't see him in Miami. That the Colts fans are so quickly to pull out. It drives me crazy. But what it means for the Titans, I'm kind of summarizing. Here he goes through the other quarterbacks, Milroe and stuff like that. Milroe is such a project, it's not even funny. They're not taking Milroe. There was not a quarterback at the Senior Bowl this week that I felt confident would be a quality NFL starter, and so many other scouts from other teams agreed. It's no secret that this is a weak QB draft class, but my time in Mobile really exposed the ugly truth to me. So what does that mean for the Titans? That means that one of the QB options can get scratched off the list. I no longer see a world where the Titans trade the first overall pick and try to invest in a rookie quarterback in the middle rounds of the draft. There's just nobody available that's worth trying to develop, especially when there's impatience within the organization. If the Titans are going to draft a quarterback, it needs to be Sanders or Cam Ward. The other options of the 2025 draft are all veterans that could be available in free agency via trade, but I'm comfortable saying pursuing a day 2, day 3 would be futile. So this QB class, it's just not good enough. It's just not good enough. They're going to go after a vet, guys. They're going to go after a vet. Maybe it's Derek Carr. If Stafford, if you can't get your hands on Stafford, then maybe it's Derek Carr. So there you go. Greetings to all 7 of you watching this. Appreciate your support. Oh, man. All right. Super Bowl time. Who does everybody have for the Super Bowl? Right? Oh, yeah, no, I don't love Milroe. I don't love Milroe at all. I don't understand it. People are all up in arms about that guy, especially the Crimson Tide section of fans, the ones that'll never forgive us for getting rid of Henry. But, the disgruntled fans always exist, no matter what you do. I don't like Milroe. I don't like really any of these quarterbacks. I'm just not impressed. And, Kemper, the guy that just commented, JT Kemper, great guy, member of Paul Kawarski's All-22, same as me. I just don't feel that these guys really excite me, at all. The right decision is to trade back here. If you're not going to trade back, you're taking Abdul Carter. I'm gonna wear that out. If you're not trading back, please take Abdul Carter. I think that's the closest thing to a surefire hit that they can get their hands on. I think Travis Hunter is a great player, but I think he's a cornerback. I don't think he's a wide receiver. Now, people could feel differently about that or whatever. Every team will feel differently. But who do you guys think is going to trade down with the Titans to get it? I asked this on Twitter, and the majority of people had the Raiders at 6, and I kind of agree with it. But I would personally love the Giants to come a knocking. They need a quarterback really bad up, and they need a quarterback for that press to chew up and spit out. That's what they need, really. So we'll talk more Titans here in a second, but we were going to talk about some Super Bowl. Raiders? Yeah, Raiders pick at 6. That's the most popular one. I just don't. Why not the Giants? What are they just not going to do it? Are they just going to walk in with what they have? It's just so odd to me, Camper, that they're not going to do anything. I don't know why. It just felt like the Giants should try to get in there. But is moving down too expensive? I heard Giants fans say it's moving down to too expensive. I was like, what does that even mean? You guys need a quarterback, go get Cam Ward. I'm more curious what happens because I am convinced if the Cowboys move down. Okay, here's the shtick. I brought this up before on this show. If the Cowboys move down from the teams, I'm going to ask for quite a bit. And Parsons is going to be on that list. Not this stupid trade with Dak that everybody keeps parading around. I don't understand it. I'll take Parsons over Dak. You give me Parsons, we can talk. But if you want me to move down the teams, it's going to cost you a lot. I mean a lot. Multiple first-round draft picks, a lot. It's going to be quite a bit. But I think it would be a major haul and get them closer to what we heard Brinker say about having more draft picks in the top 100. I think you get there by getting a king's ransom like that. Thank you, Kemper, for contributing. I appreciate that. So, Super Bowl. I really don't plan on watching too much of. I'll have the score up on my phone or whatnot, but I've got the Chiefs. I've got the Chiefs winning it all. If Philadelphia wins, San Francisco, Debo in the deal. Shoo! Where is San Francisco picking? Either way, it's going to be super expensive. The one trade I keep seeing pop up is J.J. McCarthy. I don't know why he keeps popping up. Go Birds. Yeah. I despise that fan base, but nobody wants Kansas City to succeed again other than Kansas City fans. That's for certain. But I can't go against Kansas City until I see them beheaded like Highlander, right? Just cut their head off. There could be only one kind of thing. That's the only way that I can see them beat. The interesting thing about this is when they last played the Super Bowl against each other, Philadelphia had them on the ropes and then fumbled the ball, and everything like flipped on its head at that moment. It was just all Chiefs all day, all the time. Couldn't stop them. Gee whiz. Yeah, just thinking about that game. So I'm picking Kansas City to win this thing because you got to show me they can be beat. Everybody can point at whatever they want. They can point out the wide receiver core, the defense for Philadelphia. I need to see Kansas City get beat. That's what it comes down to for me. If I will say Philadelphia wins if Saquon gets over 120 yards. I think Philadelphia wins. That's my go-to right there. But you just never know, man. What Philadelphia can afford, I think, is to get in a shootout with the Chiefs. That's what I don't think they can afford. But who knows? Anyway, the draft for the Titans is like the main thing going on around here. But we should really talk about this rather stacked front office. I have not personally seen a front office stacked like this, but apparently there are others, as I've learned from Paul Kaharski on his podcast, and even some of the more complicated leadership. So don't look at this whole thing's like too many chefs in the kitchen and whatever. And don't forget that poor Gonzi has worked on a chief staff with a lot of guys that went on to become general managers and stuff like that. Nobody was shouting down each other or anything like that, according to him anyway. So I'm excited for Reggie McKenzie. I'm excited for Ziegler as assistant GM. I think McKenzie's the head of scouts, I think. That's a lot of experience you got in that front office. A lot of guys are going to help you make the right picks at the right time. A lot of guys are going to help you make the right trades at the right time. It's all good stuff to me. I feel more confident because these are smart football guys, and I want smart football people in charge of my franchise. I got to think that Chad Brinker and all those guys have leeway to get this done because all I've heard out of their mouths is patience, and I don't think they're going to keep saying patience if Amy's not going to give them time. They have to have time. They've got to be able to turn this thing around on its head. And I think if you're going to do that, then you have given these guys – I think you've put together the right group of guys to do it. I wonder, though, if it's going to be a lot like Green Bay, which is not a bad thing because they draft pretty well and get guys that stick around and stuff like that. I'd be curious about how that's all going to work. But it's good to see Borgonzi out there. It's good to see Callahan out there, even though they're giving us nice little sound clips about quarterback. And, my favorite one popped up today. It's always those cliche sayings, right? He's got to have the it factor. Oh, okay. Well, what's the it factor? Diagnosing a play before you throw the football, blah, 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 blah. It's silly to me. But anyway, I've got 4 minutes left to kill. I've got SmackDown on my television, and I am currently just going through everything I can read about the Titans. I'm still on Team Trade Out. I hope you guys are for the most part too. This QB class I don't think is very good, and I think they should get out of it. And I'm not the only one who believes so either. So that's what it comes down to for me. Trade out, stack picks. Let's turn this thing around. We got a lot of problems we have to take care of, and we can only do that with good draft. And a lot of problems include special teams. A lot of these guys you're going to be drafting are going to be on your special teams. Got to have them. Got to have them. The depth there is absolutely needed. Absolutely needed. So I'm looking forward to – I'll tell you what I'm really looking forward to, getting a good wide receiver in this draft. Obviously later down the way, but getting a good wide receiver, I think, because Tyler Boyd's getting old. A lot of people have T. Higgins coming here, and I just don't see it. I think they're going to want to find a guy like Xavier Restrepo or somebody like that. But I don't know where these guys are going to go, first round, second round. It's always this weird stuff. It's like one day I was hearing all about the quarterback from Syracuse, and don't be surprised if he moves on down the list and blah, 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 and he should be in the top 5 or whatever. Oh, yeah. No, I'm with you. And I'm not talking about like an NWI guy. Like I'm talking about like a nice stud, like slot wide receiver, the guy that's going to do the slant routes and give me my easy first downs and stuff like that. That's what I want. And so I don't think they're going to I don't think they're going to spend the money on T. Higgins. I don't think they're going to do much of anything in free agency when it comes to wide receiver. I think they are going to chuck the ball around and try to do it. If we end up getting T. Higgins, I'll be happy, obviously. Welcome home, by the way, T. But I don't know. I think these guys are going to get a draft. That's what I think. Hello, Fantasy Farmer. Hello. Need Ridley's replacement. I agree. I just don't know if this is the draft to find Ridley's replacement. Shoot. Is it wrong that I kind of wanted him traded off a little bit? But, he's an effective player. It's just, boy, the inconsistency with him just really kind of bothers me. So Kemper wants the Birds. Fantasy Farmer, who are you going for? Are you going for Kansas City, or are you going to go for the Eagles? That's the question. And it always gets exciting during Super Bowl time, even though I'm kind of looking at this matchup, kind of just rolling my eyes about it the entire time. I think it's just going to be what it's going to be. I am curious about the officiating changes. They're supposedly we're new friends, and I'm not a Titans fan, but I love your accent. Thanks. I didn't even know I had one. I don't know if it's a Southern drawl or anything. I don't even know how you describe it. Thank you. I appreciate that. I look in the future, and I'm met with like optimism for everybody they've added to the front office. And I honestly haven't had this much optimism in the front office for a bit. So at least the last 2 years or so. So you got what you wanted as far as like who's in charge, who's running the whole thing. Chad Brinker is running the whole thing top to bottom. No doubt about it. So you have that. I would just be really curious when we hear the word patience from Chad Brinker, we hear the word patience from Borgonzi, we hear the word patience from Bert Nyhill. Are they going to be patient with the head coach? Is Callahan kind of on a short leash? I don't think it's really fair to him if everybody gets to sit around and draft picks for him if he's on the short leash. Pardon me. I think I really like Callahan. I like a guy because we so rarely, as football fans, get like the true story about what's going on. And I feel like he's honest. He's a pretty honest dude. He took a lot of accountability this year for things that went wrong, and they weren't necessarily his fault or whatnot, but he let us behind the curtain, very honest about why NWI didn't get so many get so much time on the field, and while Traylon Burks did. I mean, he was pretty honest about that. It went into detail. I thought Easton Freeze had a very good long interview about it. If you need to see that, go to A to Z Sports. Also, check out the Paul Kaharski podcast, The Unknowables, the latest episodes from him. It's really good. It kind of feels that way, man. Boy, and it stinks because they are talking patience, and this guy's got to win some games. And you're going to do it with probably some young guys on the right side of your offensive line. I feel bad for the guy. He seems like a nice guy, keeps his head in it, gives us I feel like I don't have crappy press conferences anymore with Mike Vrabel saying you got to coach better, got to play better. Get ready for that, Patriots fans. Every loss, got to coach better, got to play better, got to coach better, got to play better. Say it with me. Got to coach better, got to play better, because that's what's going to happen. I hope he's not a dead man walking, though. I hope he gets the patience. But it would be interesting if Borgonzi and Brinker don't have a coach in mind for when he's gone, because I'm sure they have a short list somewhere. Guys like that, super smart, probably have a list for it somewhere. But yeah, it's walking into interesting times. Oh, by the way, I have a pet peeve I have to get off my chest. Some Giants fan, I'm not going to say who, said this is not a critical draft for the Tennessee Titans. It's more of a critical draft for the Giants. That makes zero sense to me. Absolutely zero. We could be drafting a quarterback here. Something we haven't been able to do in a long time. Oh, see you, Kemper. Have a good night. Happy Friday. Thank you. But it's not a critical draft for us, but it's a critical draft for you. Why? Because you're in New York? Because you think your team is somehow going to go to the Super Bowl next year based on the quarterback pick? No, I don't think so. This is a critical draft, I think, for a lot of teams, mine and the Giants included, the Raiders most certainly, a lot of the bad teams down there. It's just where we are. I hope Callahan isn't a dead man walking. I hope he gets the patience. But I guess we're going to have to see how they climb this year, if they can get better. Is 9 wins enough? Is 8 wins enough to get them there from winning 3 last year? What would save? That's a good question. I should ask on Twitter, X, whatever it is. What would save Callahan's job? Like, what would he have to do this year to keep his job in Tennessee? It's a good question. I'd rather not be looking for another head coach next year. I'd rather not end up with Mike McCarthy or something like that. That would just be absolutely horrendous. Stuff like that. Ugh. Anyway, I hope you all have had a wonderful evening. Thank you for all of those that are watching or whatever. I got 24 viewers now. That's kind of fun. So I'll ramble on here a little bit. I think they're trading out. I am team trade out on this draft. I will push it. I will live it. I will breathe it. I think they trade out. So it'll be interesting to see how they go about it. Sorry, stuff happening on wrestling. If anybody knows me, I love wrestling. Royal Rumble's tomorrow. That's a big deal. Thank you all for watching. I look forward to seeing y'all next Friday at 8 p.m. Central for Fanboys Unleashed. I'll probably have my co-host back. All of y'all are really nice that commented. Thank you, Chelsea, for the lovely comment. I didn't know I had an accent, so I'll take it. I must, though. Oh, Tyrese Halliburton from the Pacers just walked out on SmackDown. Isn't that fun? I hope you all have a pleasant evening. Enjoy your Friday night, everybody. It's the weekend. You made it. You got through this tough week. I've gotten through this tough week. But do remember that everything coming out of that Senior Bowl, I wouldn't trust it. These guys have an idea, and maybe something that happened there changed their minds, but everybody talking about how the interview with Shadur Sanders went absolutely fantastic and all this smoke and mirror stuff. That smoke and mirror stuff is going to go all the way till draft night. So, which I will be there in Green Bay. If you guys are going to the draft, let me know. I will definitely be there. And look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. Have a great Friday evening. I'm going to play some Xbox and watch some wrestling. We'll see you later.